Ocean on the Rocks. Coming back to you guys with another one. Recognizing the Game, episode 50. This is Semen Retention and the Authentic Self, part 9. Black Flag, La Familia. Ya tu sabes, you know what it is. I just wanted to talk about an aspect of my journey which I've touched on in previous videos on my channel. When I listen to music, I'm very discerning. If something doesn't apply to me or I could see it in my mind as something I could experience or that I will partake in just off of my self knowledge, then I can't relate to it. And even artists that I don't necessarily like or care for may have a song that I like and I'll listen to it. One song that really resonates with me from a favorite artist of mine. A lot of his songs overlap with what I was experiencing at the time he released them. And one song in particular is Paris Morton Music, which is a song released by Drake that a lot of people forget about or overlook. But one reason why I vibe with it and I really relate to it is because in this song, Paris Morton Music, he's talking about someone that really supported him when he was coming up, when he was establishing himself, and she believed in his vision. And when opportunity and doors opened for him, he ended up leaving her behind. But once he started going down that road, and he was in this experiencing these new things, and he was starting to see himself in a different frame of mind. And he had to adjust to that lifestyle, which was ultimately him going down the path of his Purpose. He got caught up in it, not so much in a negative way, but things started moving at such a steady pace, and things were unfolding at such a tremendous speed, and he found himself moving up. He got caught up in it, and for me, I can relate to it because I reached a breaking point in a long-term relationship that I was in that ended in 2011, and I was doing whatever I could to make it work, even stepping outside of my comfort zone and not necessarily in a healthy way. And I could say that I was even compromising my own values. And when I realized how far away I was stepping from myself, I reached my breaking point. Something in me, when I became aware of what was going on, something in me snapped. I snapped. Not so much losing my cool, but I was pissed off when I became aware of what was happening when I put it all together and how I had been acting, how I had lost my footing. And so I got to a point where I was like, I'm going it alone. Fuck it. And sometimes you got to get to that point where you leave people behind and do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to get fed up. You got to be agitated, and you've got to feel that anger. Sometimes the disappointment that you have in a situation and dealing with certain types of people is going to be the driving force for you to implement change and become who you're meant to be much stronger, to be more diligent in setting boundaries and vocalizing your truth, the truth, and living in that truth. And so in this song, he couldn't wait for her. And he didn't mean to hurt her if he did. And he said in the song, I would have come back for you. But as he went along and did his own thing, she ended up moving on. And so on my journey, I've met a lot of women. I know a lot of women and still do. And I had to leave some behind because it was just the fact that my call to live a life for me, my purpose, is much greater than the possibilities of being in a relationship with them. I had to achieve things on my own terms. I knew that there was more for me to do, more for me to see that was going to come from me being independent, me not falling into the construct of, oh, I need to get married and I need to have kids. You can be interested in a woman and go back and forth about whether or not you want to be with her in the long term. But if you have any doubt, you don't need to move forward with it. If your heart is not in complete agreement with the decision being made, then don't make it at all. And there are women that I actually cared about, but I was just like, man, I can't do it. If I don't necessarily know why I stand with you, then I'm not about to put forth the energy and effort. And if I feel as though our relationship really doesn't have any value anymore, if there's not an energy being reciprocated, when you go to that place and you decide to end something, regardless of what the outcome could be, and you look at the outcome and say, this could happen if I do this and accept it, that's you being authentic. Whether the emotion is positive or negative, whatever you perceive it to be and you accept it based on the information that you receive from within, you move forward on that. And you trust yourself regardless of the outcome. Regardless of the outcome. Sometimes you have to get to that point where you're going to make the decision regardless because you have to move forward. I have to make a way forward. I can't be stuck and stagnant. I'm not satisfied in the situation that I'm in. I'm not satisfied with this person and how we're relating. I want to live for me. I look back and remember a point in time where I was like, I was interested in one or more women, and it was like I have too many women. I got too many options. There were too many women around me, and it was hard to make a decision. And I still have a lot of women around me because I like women. The only reason the decision was difficult was because I still wanted my freedom after having been in a long-term relationship that wasn't the best for me. And being in that relationship where I felt my freedom was taken away from me, it's like I don't want my freedom being taken away from me again. I wasn't put on this earth to make someone happy, to make someone else happy, to compromise my needs, my health, my well-being to make someone else happy. And that's the idea that many have when it comes to marriage. It's like if I don't or you don't fulfill all my needs, then you're not good enough. And we can experience the stress of a relationship that's almost equivalent to being in a marriage before we even get married. So then it's like, why go through a relationship like that? You might not ever want to be married. And that was how it was with me. Though all women are not the same, we understand hypergamy and the fact that a woman wants a man that they personally deem as the highest of value. Because of experiences that I've had with women, I don't ever want to be married. Me deciding to commit to a woman does not have to be notarized by the law, any pastor or minister or some church, some bullshit church. I'm not doing none of that. Me and this person will come to an agreement, but I would still want my personal freedom, my individuality, my autonomy. Why would you as a man not want to be free? Why would you not want your freedom? I ended up getting to a point where my purpose has to come first because you will find women that expect you to give them all of your time, be on the phone with them all time of night. You need to take them out. You need to do this or that. How about I do something for me? How about I put me first? How about I take care of me? How about if a female calls me, I'm not picking up the phone if I don't want to talk? How about if a female texts me and I don't want to talk? I'm not responding back. I even got gay dudes hopping up in my inbox. I'm like, y'all, blocked. I gave you the opportunity to build a friendship. I don't care about your sexuality because I know who I am and I'm out here trying to build and connect with whomever I can of those with higher consciousness. But if you come at me with that feminine energy and you over there trying to force yourself into my space, I'm like, no. So when I sit and think about Paris more music, I know how it is because I cut ties with people that I still had some type of connection to. And I thought about the memories and experiences that we had, but I had to walk away because I just can't sit here and wait for you. When I see you, giving your attention and time to other people, but you won't show the same for me if our relationship means something. It's so much more to life, and I know that because of what I went through in my relationship, I know what I'm capable of doing for the right person, that I can be a good mate, that I can fulfill those responsibilities and things because of what I showed myself I was capable of in a relationship that wasn't really feasible for me. I know you may deeply care for a woman or someone if this is the first time you're experiencing a relationship and dealing with the emotions that you haven't dealt with before. But people are losing their soul over a person, giving their soul and making that person the basis for why they exist. You're letting them define your purpose instead of your soul defining your purpose. I think back to all of the people I've seen go through breakups. They lose sight of life. They lose sight of their vision. And it's a sad thing to see. Spirits get broken. People go through bouts of depression because of this. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing, for you to walk away from someone that you really care about. Because I had to do that. When I saw other people not be able to do that in their life because they ended up neglecting themselves, their responsibilities, their life started to fall apart and go in the wrong direction. And they dug a hole for themselves that was too difficult for them to get out of without having to depend on somebody else. But I know that I was willing to make the hard decision regardless of how painful it was. Even if you make a decision that everyone doesn't agree with because you're making it for you. And I'm talking about decisions as a man from a higher mind, not from your lower desires. Some of those decisions are going to be painful. Some of the best decisions are going to be painful in the process. But in the long term, you will see the good in it and you'll make peace with it. And you have to have those experiences and make those decisions so that you can understand yourself from an authentic place and to be authentic. And a lot of people don't know how to make the decision because they want validation. They want to be accepted. It's not all about being accepted. It's about knowing who you are and understanding yourself, both your dark and your light, and moving in there. And this is what I mean by recognizing the game. Love. Salud.